In 2017, Marvel dropped this ominous trailer that the Avengers have been defeated in some way. Iron Man's glove amongst some rubble, along with Bruce's glasses, Thor's hammer, and Cap's shield. This trailer set up things as if we were going to get something dark and gritty. So a lot of people assumed that we were going to get some single player game that shows us how all of this came to be. Instead, we got some live service bullshit that wanted to sell you emotes and skins. When the game finally released in 2020, with the lackluster story that makes the heroes the game is named after look like idiots, let me stop before I start dunking on this game too much in the intro. Let's see how Marvel and Square Enix did the Avengers and its fans dirty. Oh, so dirty.
Oh shit, it's the Avengers!
No! We are the Revengers! I am Captain Puerto Rico!
I am Antonio Starch!
We will take care of this evildoer. Stand back!
Back! Unity! Are those paper plates? This is just annoying.
Be careful, Esteban!
Oh, it used to be cool.
Your unibeam seems to have no effect!
So welcome to the story section of this Marvel Avengers review, and I'm doing something a little bit different. The reason why is because, honestly, I've done this story section so many times that I thought this would just be the best way to do it, to essentially cut on the camera and you see how I feel about this story in real time. So with that, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I had to do something different with the setup because the way my setup is currently set up, it wouldn't allow it. So if you hear any interference, I apologize, but I have this fucking microphone propped up on my fat ass stomach because I can't find the stand that goes on the bottom, or at least the bottom part of the stand. And I'm not going to deconstruct and break down my whole entire closet just to find it. So stomach it is. But anyway, enough about my stomach and microphone stands. Let's start breaking down this story. So our story starts off with Kamala Khan and her dad attending A-Day, which is a day celebrating the Avengers, hence why it's called A-Day. And the way her and her dad got in was that Kamala Khan basically entered in some fanfic, which this whole story is basically fanfic, by the way. And they won, and that's why they're there, and it's taking place on the helicarrier. This is when we get a glimpse into our first problem, though. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, like I just said, I've done this story section multiple times, and each time that I've done it, I found myself hating Kamala Khan less and less and less, but not for the reasons you may think. So let me make this abundantly clear. I've never been a fan of Kamala Khan since the beginning. Like back in the day when she first came out, around the same time Miles came out, and then they had that whole thing where it was her, Miles, and Kid Nova, and they had their own little group. Like even back then, I didn't like Kamala Khan. So it has nothing to do with me not liking her because of how they presented her in this game, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't like how they presented her in this game at all either, but I've just never liked Kamala Khan. Now, I know some of y'all Kamala Khan fans, if you ever see this, which I highly doubt, are gonna come out the woodworks and say, well, her show is good and she's the best part of the Marvels, which I've heard quite a bit. And hey, that's fucking cool. I'm glad that that's the case, but I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just gonna be real with you. I don't care for her character, so I really don't give a fuck how she is in there. I'm not gonna watch it. But here's where I'm getting at with all of this. The reason why I started to hate her less and less when it came to this story and this game is because I started to realize that it's not her fault that the writers essentially made her the platform to make the Avengers, you know, the characters that the name of the game, or the characters that the game is named after of. It's not her fault that they used her as a platform to make them the most incompetent versions of these superheroes I've ever fucking seen in my life. Like, these are ridiculously dumb iterations of these characters. So even though I do have my beef with Kamala Khan and how she is in this game, I'm not gonna put all of it on her, nor am I gonna attack her as much as I am the rest of these characters on how fucking dumb they are. But I will say this though, and I'm gonna show an example. One of the main reasons why I really didn't like her in this game, outside of, once again, them using her as a platform to make the Avengers fucking just stupid as fuck, are these two scenes right here. These scenes are back to back, sort of kinda. You do one mission and you get the first one, then you do like maybe 1 or 2 missions, then you get the next one. But it's this kind of setup and how they make her character is what really makes me hate her even more, especially in this story. But nonetheless, outside of this, it is what it is with Kamala Khan. But I do want to show this because this is some contradictory shit right here. And this is why I don't like her in this game.
But you're Dr. Bruce Banner. You're one of the greatest minds of our time.
Greatest minds? Look at you. Look at what we did. You have no idea how dangerous it is.
Tarleton calls people like me inhuman. He claims we're sick, violent, demented. He says our disease will kill us in the end. Well, I don't believe it. Guess I'll find Mr. Stark myself.
2 hours later.
It didn't work like that.
I mean, you saw them. It looks like it really hurts, but maybe that's worth it?
Kamala,
I never really fit in before. I mean, superheroes were my world, and I figured if I could just win that fan fiction competition, you know, then everything would just be... It doesn't matter. Now look at me. I'm a freak.
whoa.
If you didn't get what was contradictory about those 2 clips, literally in the first clip, she's telling Bruce that, you know, they say that Inhumans are freaks and that they're this and that they're that, yada, yada, yada. And I don't believe that. I'm gonna go and find Tony Stark myself if you're not gonna help me, because I don't believe in that. But then literally a couple of scenes later, she's talking about how she's a freak. That to me makes no fucking sense. Okay, just 1 minute ago, you was talking about how you don't believe that Inhumans are freaks. Now, literally a couple minutes later, you're saying that you're a freak. Whatever. Like I said, that's just to me is the prime example of why Kamala Khan is a shitty fucking character in this game. Once again, I'm not talking about outside of this game. I'm talking about specifically in this game. So during the event on the helicarrier, Kamala Khan is going around and collecting these rare comic books, right? And for some reason, one of these comic books is basically in like this dank, dark ass room for some reason. And so she goes in there to get the comic book. And while she's in there, she hears 2 people talking. And these 2 people are essentially our villains of the game. And that is Monica and Charlie or George. I really don't fucking know. Iron Man calls him George. Everybody else calls him Charlie. So I have no fucking clue which one his name is. He essentially becomes MODOK, spoiler alert, which, I mean, is there really even a spoiler at this point? Who gives a shit? And so they're talking about the Terrigen core, right? That they had built or whatever. And basically Charlie, George, whatever the fuck you want to call him, he's saying that, hey, you know, this thing was not really meant to be out to be displayed to the public just yet. It's not stable enough. But Tony Stark doesn't give a shit and he put it out there anyway. And Monica's just kind of reassuring him like, hey, you know, yeah, that's true. But, you know, we're so close to getting what we need, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Well, this is when Bruce walks up and Bruce and Monica are dating. And Bruce basically agrees with Charlie. He basically tells him, he's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I don't think this shit was ready to be put out for the public yet. Let's go run some more tests on it to make sure that everything is okay. Well, of course, it doesn't go okay. The Terrigen core blows up, and this is what essentially creates the A-Day event where the Terrigen core explodes. Tons of people died, not only on the helicarrier that it took place on. Captain America dies, right? And then the mist from the Terrigen core spreads throughout San Francisco, not only killing people, but giving a bunch of people superpowers. And this is also how Kamala Khan gets her superpowers. So the results from this, right, the outcome of all of this is that Stark Industries gets liquidated and gets completely shut down, and AIM takes its place. And then not only that, the government calls upon the Avengers and they just outright ask them. They ask them, are the Avengers a threat to humanity? Which Bruce responds with, yes. And then this is when we get our really big first problem. Once again, Kamala Khan, I've pushed to the side. For me, this is when we get our first genuinely big problem about this story. The reason why this is a big fucking deal and why it makes this story bad is because it's something that I brought up in my Guardians review. And that is, we have no prior knowledge of what has happened in this universe for the Avengers to be a threat. Now, I know some of you are probably going to come out the woodwork who are fans of this game and say, well, actually, there's a comic book that goes over some of the things that predate this game. And my response to that is that I don't give a fuck. It's not in the game, so I don't give a fuck about what a comic book did. I shouldn't have to go and read a bunch of extra shit to understand what's going on in the game that you're selling me now. I don't give a fuck about that. If that stuff was truly important, they would have put it in the fucking game, but they didn't. So in the game, what we're presented with in the main campaign is that this one event happens, this A-Day event. And I want to make this abundantly clear. I'm not dismissing the fact that tons of people died and that tons of people who never had superpowers before now have them, and they're out there running amok and causing havoc. I'm not ignoring that. I'm not sweeping that under the rug. But the simple fact that based off this one event in this universe, this is its own universe. This is not connected to the MCU or nothing like that. This is its own universe. Just like Guardians of the Galaxy, those two are not even linked up. Guardians is its own universe with its own things, and this is too. And the simple fact that we have no prior knowledge to this event on what has happened, but somehow this one event makes them a threat is fucking stupid. And why would Bruce even say that? If he feels so responsible, why wouldn't he be the main one, since, I don't know, he helped develop the Terrigen Core, to say, hey, we actually are not a threat. We fucked up, but let us show you that we're here to help humanity more than anything, especially me, because I'm the one who helped create the motherfucker. No, we don't get that. He just says, yeah, we're a threat, and then they disband, even though we have no prior knowledge to them being a threat before that. They don't bring up no secret invasion. They don't bring up nothing like Ultron, anything that has happened when it comes to the Avengers that could be a threat to humanity. They don't even fucking try to bring up Thanos or nothing. They don't do any of that. It's just this one event, and somehow they're a threat, and then for some reason, once again, to just continue to hammer it in your head on how fucking stupid this is, Bruce is like, yeah, we're a threat. We had one fucking incident. I'm a part of the incident. I'm the one who helped create the fucking thing, but I'm gonna go run off in the canyons and just say, fuck it, I don't care anymore. It's so fucking dumb. This setup is so fucking dumb. But if you thought this was dumb, oh boy, it's gonna get even worse. It's gonna get even fucking worse. So now years have passed, and Kamala Khan is a lot older, and she's in her room on her computer, and she's on this resistance forum, right? Because essentially AIM is taking over and kind of put San Francisco in a police state, essentially. And she clicks on this one thread, and when she clicks on it, there's a link in there, and when she clicks on the link, it takes her to this profile. And then this is where the game gets even more dumb, right? This is where the game really started to piss me off, because it started to insult my intelligence. And I want you to remember that as I talk about the rest of these stories, or rest of this story and then the DLC. I don't like when something insults my intelligence. Don't get me wrong. I believe in the suspension of disbelief. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I'm a Godzilla fan. That should tell you right there that I can deal with dumb shit. I'm a fucking Godzilla fan. We already know Godzilla could never fucking exist. But you know what? My black ass was in the theater when -1 came out. My black ass was in the theater when King Kong vs. Godzilla came out. I mean, fuck, I was watching that with King Kong. So I know how to have a suspension of disbelief and enjoy media for what it is. But when you start stooping to this level, when you start making shit so fucking dumb to where I start to feel insulted that you think I would believe that shit, that's when I start to get pissed off. So here's where I'm getting at with all of this. When she clicks on the link, it brings up a profile, right? And it brings up Tony Stark's profile. And it's to an AIM server. And even at the bottom, it says powered by Tony Stark. Now, there could be an argument made here that even though they took over Stark Industries or replaced them, you could say something like, okay, well, maybe before AIM took over, Stark Industries was like, you know, a parent of them or something like that, and that's why it's an AIM profile, but it's powered by Stark Industries. You see what I'm trying to say? Sort of like how Facebook and Meta is. Like, even though I mean, not Facebook and Meta, like Instagram and Facebook, you know how technically Instagram is its own thing, but it's attached to Facebook. So if you was to see, you know, Instagram, and then at the bottom it would say powered by Facebook, you would know that, like, okay, like they're attached. So I'll give you that. That makes sense to a certain extent if you want to go that route. Fine, I'll give you that. But here's where it becomes stupid. First off, if the Avengers have disassembled and Tony Stark is nowhere to be found, and you're AIM and you've taken over not only Stark Industries and its assets, you are now top dog and you're running everything. Why in the fuck would you keep Tony Stark's account active? Why would you keep his profile active? Why would you give him a back door? That makes no fucking sense. That raises so many cybersecurity red flags. This nigga has literally fallen off the map, which is what we see later on. You're not going to see it here because I'm not going to talk about it. Well, I kind of talk about it later, but not in the recap of this story. But you get my point. Why would you leave that available for him to hack into? That's so fucking dumb. But it gets even worse than that. And this is what I'm talking about insulting my intelligence. Is you see, when them, I'm gonna let y'all know, when when my eyes start squinting like this, that's when I'm really starting to get fucking pissed. So when my eyes start squinting, you know I'm really starting to get irritated. My brain is trying to comprehend the amount of stupidity that's being presented to me right now. So you got that, right? But once again, I'll give you that, whatever. But them having Tony Stark's account still available to be accessed in any way, shape, or form is fucking stupid. But then this is when the game really started to fucking insult my intelligence to where I wanted to fucking ram my head into a wall, because that would have been more fun than playing this fucking story. Do y'all want to know what this nigga password was? This nigga Iron Man's password was I am Iron Man. Now granted, right? I can hear some of y'all still trying to defend this and say, oh, well, you know, whatever, you know, whatever bullshit you want to say. But here's where it gets really fucking dumb. And this is where I mean, if I could smack this game across the fucking face, I would fucking smack it and then pimp smack it so fucking hard. His password is I am Iron Man, but then it's on a fucking poster that he sells as well. Yes, you heard me correctly. His fucking password is on a poster that he sells. Do you not understand how fucking idiotic that is? So you're telling me Tony Stark, billionaire playboy philanthropist, right? The nigga that made a suit out of a box of scraps in a cave, as Jeff Bridges put it. Jambalaya Stain is what I like to call him, right? Jambalaya Stain is, he put it in Iron Man 1. The man who made a fucking suit out of a box of scraps in a cave. His fucking password is I am Iron Man. Then he proceeds to put his password on a fucking poster to sell. And some of y'all think that this campaign is good. Some of y'all think that this shit's okay. What the fuck are y'all smoking? Seriously, this is so fucking idiotic. And I understand. I'm gonna say this once again. Well, I haven't said it yet, but my point is that I know some of y'all are gonna say it's not that serious. And you're 100% right. It is not that serious. But it is serious to me, once again, when you insult my fucking intelligence. I don't fucking like that shit. And for you to give me some bullshit like that and think I'm gonna think that's okay, you are sorely mistaken. That is some fucking bullshit no matter how much you slice it. But it gets even worse than that, y'all. It gets even worse than that. What I don't understand to go along with this is that you're telling me, right, that in the real world, real world, where motherfuckers are hacking Rockstar, right, and getting development footage of GTA 6 and leaking it out on the internet, right? You got motherfuckers that are hacking Insomniac and releasing their plans up till 2030, right? 2030, we know what's gonna be happening with Insomniac, releasing footage of the Wolverine game that's supposed to be coming out next year, whenever the fuck. You're telling me that that's happening in real life. Real fucking life. I don't care if this was written back in 2017, 2018, 2019. The game came out in 2020. I don't give a fuck. It's the point of this is what people are doing in real fucking life. You're telling me people are able to do this, but nobody in her fucking world can hack into Tony Stark's profile or into an AIM server when his fucking password is I am Iron Man? Are you serious? This nigga didn't even try to do like a 1 as the I or a 4 as the A, or for the he put a 0 or anything like that. He didn't do anything like that. It's literally I am Iron Man, all caps with the spaces that's on the fucking poster. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how y'all think that this shit's okay. I don't understand how y'all don't think this shit is insulting y'all intelligence. I don't fucking get it. But would you believe it or not, it gets even worse than this. I'm not shitting you. It gets even worse than this. So when she gets into the profile, right? You know what she sees? She sees the surveillance footage of what happened to Captain America on the helicarrier. So once again, if you're AIM and you're taking over the world, or in this case, San Francisco, let's just keep it regional, but it's essentially the world they're going for, right? Or whatever, who fucking knows? I don't care. The motivations of these villains are so fucking shallow, I can barely even come up with a comprehensive explanation on why they're doing what they're doing in the first place. That's another topic for later on, right? But nonetheless, if you're AIM and you're doing all of this shit, why would you keep the fucking surveillance footage of what happened to Captain America on your fucking server? You run everything now. Literally, you have no competition. Stark Industries is gone. It's literally AIM or nobody else on some Disney type shit, which is funny because, you know, how that ladder goes. But anyway, it's literally that. They own everything for the most part. Everything is run by AIM and is done through AIM. And you're this big company that's doing all of this shit, and you don't think about, hey, you know, that footage with Captain America with the Terrigen core and, you know, Charlie running out of the room, we might want to get rid of that so, you know, somebody can possibly use that as evidence against us for some things, or maybe misinterpret that as something else. No, for some reason, they fucking leave it on there. This is our story, folks. These are our villains, and these are our heroes. We got a guy who was one of the main Avengers tell the government that they're a threat after one fucking incident. You have our fucking other hero, Iron Man, having his password, presumably to his company with his information on it, I am Iron Man, that he sold on a fucking poster, by the way, his goddamn password. Then you have our villains who left fucking evidence of what happened in the room with the Terrigen core on their fucking servers, and then left Tony Stark's fucking profile up to be accessed. Do you not see what the problem is already? We've gone through 4 fucking stupid ass moments, and this is in the beginning of the game. We haven't even hit the rest of the game yet. We're just at the beginning, people. So we're gonna skip forward quite a bit because honestly, most of this game is just about them getting the band back together, right? And so as they're getting the band back together, they essentially run into Ant-Man, and he is the guy who is the leader of the resistance that's fighting back against AIM. And then this is when we get to our next what the fuck moment. Our true what the fuck moment. Our true next what the fuck moment. So Kamala Khan has this conversation with this random inhuman guy, and he's like, I gotta get better because I gotta go save some people from this and that, and you know, yeah, right? You know, just some bullshit ass motivation for her to go and do something, right? And so she goes and tells Bruce and Ant-Man that, like, hey, there's this fucking base that got all these Inhumans there. We need to go do something about it. And Ant-Man just straight up tells her, hey, I've tried to get in there multiple times. It's like super fucking dangerous. We just can't go about trying to break in right now, right? Because it's Kamala Khan, and, you know, they make everybody that's not Kamala Khan fucking idiots in this game besides Kamala Khan. She decides to go ahead and say fuck all that and just go and try to break in anyway. And what results from this is that, of course, she gets fucking captured, right? But then this is where the real what the fuck moment comes in, where I'm going to be screaming again, so I apologize. Hence why I try to keep this microphone away from me as far as possible so I won't blow y'all fucking eardrums out. This is when Black Widow shows up. Now, I want to go ahead and put this here right now just to go ahead and kind of get it out the way. Technically, Black Widow shows up twice earlier before this moment. She shows up once when Kamala Khan is hacking into AIM's server, and she gets this message from somebody named Tiny Dancer, like, like Tiny Dancer, like, who? I wonder who that could be. Of course, it's fucking her, right? And then they even try to make a joke about it later on where Tony Stark is like, oh, really, Tiny Dancer? No, bitch. Just because you try to poke fun at it doesn't make it any less stupid. It's still fucking stupid no matter how much you try to acknowledge it, right? Like, nobody would ever look at Tiny Dancer and not think it's Black Widow within that universe. Of course, not out in the real world, which me and you exist in. Well, if this is even a real world, but let's not try to get philosophical talking about this stupid fucking game. But you get my point. In their world, Tiny Dancer is always going to be associated with Black Widow, so why would you make your username that? Anyway, but then also when Kamala Khan is escaping from AIM, she shows up a couple of times. You don't actually see her because she has on like this other suit or whatever. But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because all of this rolls into this moment. So when Kamala Khan gets captured, right, this is when Black Widow shows up. And I'm not even going to say anything. I'm going to show you the clip because I want the clip to speak for itself. So I'm going to show you this clip, and I want you to pick up on what's wrong with this sentence or what she's saying in general.
Years of undercover work and a kid from Jersey City brings me right to the heart of AIM's operation.
Let's play that one more time.
Years of undercover work and a kid from Jersey City brings me right to the heart of AIM's operation.
Let's play that one more again. One more again. Let's play that one more again.
Years of undercover work and a kid from Jersey City brings me right to the heart of AIM's operation.
So if you haven't figured out what the problem is, I can't even get it out because it's so fucking stupid. So you're telling me Black Widow, right? And I'm not gonna act like I'm the most well-versed person when it comes to Marvel superheroes. I'm not gonna act like that, okay? I'm one of them people, if I don't know, I don't know, and I'm not gonna act like I know. I don't know, I don't know. It's just that simple, right? But for the most part, I think most people would agree, right? Black Widow is the queen of espionage, right? That's her whole thing. That's her whole identity. Just like Iron Man with the suits, Thor with the hammer, Cap with the shield, you know what I'm saying? Hulk being Hulk, you know, that is her whole thing, is espionage and being a spy. And you're telling me that her, Black Widow, queen of espionage, her whole thing, could not find this fucking facility, even though she was working undercover, until Kamala Khan got captured. Once again, making Kamala Khan the reason why shit gets done, and not only that, making our heroes look fucking incompetent. Now, I'm not saying that she should have found it in fucking 3 weeks, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying that Black Widow should have found this shit in fucking 2 days. I'm not saying that. But goddamn, you're telling me that from the time that fucking what's-her-face, Kamala Khan, got infected with the Terrigen Mist, got older, and did all of this extra shit, that now you just find it when clearly this facility has been opened up for fucking years probably? They don't, and that's the thing, they don't ever give a time frame on how long this shit's been open. That's the problem. So you could try to make some argument there, but it's still the point of, you're telling me that Black Widow, her one thing is being a spy, is espionage. She could not fucking find this facility until Kamala Khan got captured? Do you not see how this game makes our fucking heroes, you know, the heroes that the game is named after of, look like fucking idiots for Kamala's sake? Going back to my original problem with Kamala. Once again, it's not technically her fault, but I'm saying it's her being a problem in this game. Them using her as a platform to not only fucking downplay, but just completely, and I know this is probably not a word, but idiofy, you know, I'm making up a new word if it's not a real word, but idiofy our fucking heroes, dude. Like, what the fuck? It takes you that long to find this place, and the simple fact that she says she's been working undercover is what makes it even more insulting. So you've been working undercover for years, as you put it, and you couldn't find this facility until this girl who just started going up against fucking AIM maybe like what, a couple of weeks ago, if that, in the context of this story, is the reason why you're able to find this facility. I mean, goddamn, people, I genuinely don't know how some of y'all could find this shit to be entertaining. I genuinely don't. I genuinely do not. So what this leads into is Monica getting captured, right? Because Black Widow broke out Kamala Khan. All the resistance people, including Ant-Man and Bruce, come to the AIM facility that she tried to break into and, of course, save her, right? And so because of this, they're able to capture Monica. And this is what I'm talking about right here. Once again, this is another moment that does not make any fucking sense. This is the moment I'm talking about when it comes to our villains being so shallow and their motivations literally making no fucking sense, right? So there's a scene in here where Bruce is interrogating Monica, right? And to basically boil it down, Monica says that the reason why they're siphoning the Inhumans' powers is to put it in the robots because they can basically be controlled. Essentially, that's essentially what she's saying. They can be controlled. But here's what I don't understand. If you have the technology and the intelligence and the prowess or whatever other fucking words you want to use, right, to create these advanced robots that can do all of these things. Like, there's literally at one point in one of the DLCs, you fight this thing called an Adaptoid, and it basically has well, not every, but it has all the Avengers superpowers for the most part, right? Because Iron Man doesn't have superpowers, but you get my point. Really Cap doesn't have superpowers either, but you get my point. It's an amalgamation of all the heroes. So it's as strong as Hulk. It has Cap's shield, it has Thor's hammer, it probably, and Black Widow don't have powers either. So I don't know what the fuck it does pertain to Black Widow, but that's what they say. They're like, oh, it's an Adaptoid. It has all the powers of the Avengers, right? So my point is that if you have the technology and the skills and the scientists and the resources to make something that advanced, where she even says it in the fucking cutscene, she's like, and they have complex AI, and that will reduce the amount of so if you have all of that, I don't know, wouldn't it just be a little bit easier to, I don't know, maybe create like a collar, a necklace, some nanobots, a chip, you know, something like that, to where you could just, I don't know, fucking control the Inhumans, make them like a police force like you're doing with the robots. Why go through all of this waste and siphon energy from Inhumans and do all of this other shit when you could just, I don't know, fucking use the Inhumans? I don't get that. That literally makes, what is your purpose here? What is the point of you being a villain? Because outside of this, there's literally nothing that makes them villain worthy. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I was gonna say this for later, but I don't give a fuck because I'm already over this story, right? They don't even go after Kamala's dad. These are some of the most, and I don't know why I can't ever get this out, but they're like, when it comes to morality, these are some of like the most, I can't even fucking get it out, but you know what I'm trying to say. Morally, there's some of the most like good bad villains ever. I don't know how else to explain it. For some reason, the words can't come out of my mouth on how I'm trying to say it, but you get what I'm trying to say, hopefully. Most villains, if they're really trying to go after the hero and they're really trying to stop them, they're gonna do shit to really hurt the hero. That's the point. I'm gonna not only affect you in one way, I'm gonna affect you in another way. You know, doing some off the wall shit. Perfect example. Let's go for the lowest hanging fruit. When Joker really wanted to get to Batman, what the fuck did he do? He kidnapped Jason Todd and he beat the shit out of him and killed him. That's how you get to your hero if you're the villain. These fucking villains don't even do that. So that already lessens the impact of what they could be right there. They literally, because earlier in the game, they get Kamala Khan. This is when that whole thing with Black Widow happens too, where she shows up and is like helping Kamala, but she's like undercover still, right? They literally call her by her name and they're like, Kamala, we can help you. So you know her name is Kamala. You know everything about her. So you know that she has a dad. You know the dad is in the city that she's in because that's who she's clearly living with. But you just never fucking touch the dad. You just never fucking touch the dad. Like literally the dad is never touched. There's not even a moment where they like fucking call her up or the dad calls her and is like, Kamala, these niggas are after me. Like, what the fuck did you do? None of that. The dad is just fine throughout the entire game. And at the end, they just meet each other and hug. These villains fucking suck. Not only because the reason why they want to do shit, which they never really explain why they want to do what they do, is just, we need to do this, right? But then you don't even take the fucking step of going after the person who's literally, by the way, breaking down and bringing down your organization. Once again, Kamala Khan is the reason why AIM is being brung down. And you don't even go after her father. This one girl is tearing your organization down into tiny pieces in front of you, and you don't even go after her fucking dad. God damn, these villains are stupid. These are some of the worst fucking villains I've ever seen. But just in case all the stuff I talked about didn't hit home the point of how bad this game makes our heroes look for Kamala's sake, these are the last two moments that really just fucking shoves that knife in there and starts to turn it and turn it and fucking turn it and just keep on fucking turning it. So Monica breaks free because some robots show up, and yeah, robots, right? And the Avengers, for some reason, after just now assembling, by the way, have another argument and they disband, right? Tony and Bruce get into it. Thor's like, fuck this shit, I'm going back to being Donald Blake. Black Widow's like, I'm going back to sucking at being a fucking spy and taking 18 centuries to find something. Everybody's like, fuck it, right? And so Kamala Khan gives this fucking whack ass speech, and I'm just gonna play it so you can hear it. She gives this fucking whack ass speech, and all of a sudden, that is what brings us back together, to the point to where they're walking in there and they're like, hey kid, that was a pretty good speech. You changed my mind.
Avengers, if you can hear me, I think I found a clue. Look, I know I messed up. I wanted to blame AIM so bad for what happened to me on A-Day, it blinded me. But Cap must have had a good reason for what he did. I know it. People believe in the Avengers. Not just because of your cool powers, but because no matter how bad things get, no matter how much you disagree, you always come together. Don't you get it? Your differences are your greatest superpower. I was just some weird kid from Jersey who didn't fit in. But you saw me for who I really was. You accepted me. There's still a bad guy out there who wants to hurt the world. But we can stop him. Good isn't a thing you are. It's a thing you do.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said.
I get it.
Altitude, dry ice. Look, I'm not very good at. I'm sorry, so. Same. Good enough.
So the Avengers, a bunch of grown-ass men and women who have saved the world who knows how many times, because for some reason this game doesn't want to explain how many times they've saved the world, right? And it's done many of great things in the grand scheme of things, can only be brought together now by one of the wackest and lamest speeches by however fucking old Kamala Khan is. I'm not even gonna try to figure out her age. I'm not gonna guess her age because I don't give a fuck. You get my point. That's the only reason why they can come back together. Fuck you, game. Fuck you. Like, seriously, fuck you. Just fuck you. That's the only way I can put it. Fuck you. But here's where it gets even worse. Kamala Khan is the one who finds out where Captain America is being held. I'm not shitting you. She's the reason why that they find Captain America. Because during this speech moment where all the Avengers have basically fucking ran off and done their own thing or disbanded again, disassembled is what I like to call it, right? She starts looking at the surveillance footage of what Monica said to Bruce. Because she said some shit like, you can scour the earth and you'll never find him. And so she's sitting there and she keeps on rewinding it and keeps on rewinding it. And she's like, scour the earth, scour the earth. Oh, he must be in space. And guess what? He's in fucking space. Thank you, Kamala Khan. Thank you. Thank you for solving every single issue of this fucking game for us. No, not the Avengers that we actually came here for. It's Kamala Khan who saved the day. She's the one who took down AIM for the most part. She's the one who brought the Avengers back together. And she's the one who found Captain America. I mean, for fuck's sakes, people, if you can legitimately sit here and fucking tell me that all of this shit that I just described does not make the Avengers look incompetent for Kamala's sake, pass me some of that shit that you smoking on. I need that. I need that. I'm running low on my shit anyway. I fucking need you to pass that shit to me right now because that shit is better than a loud pack. You smoking on that delusional pack and I want some of that because I want to be delusional enough to think that some shit like this is a good fucking narrative. So after they get Cap, bring him back down to Earth, he unthaws again basically. Not really. He wasn't really frozen, but I just like to say that because it sounds funny to a certain extent. So he unthaws again. They assemble, they take down Monica and Charlie, who eventually becomes MODOK, but who gives a shit? I mean, seriously, after everything I just told you, do you really give a shit about him becoming MODOK, right? I mean, as you play the game, his head just gets fatter and fatter, so who gives a fuck? So you know he's becoming MODOK, fat head ass nigga. And this is coming from a fat head ass nigga, but he's a real fat head ass nigga. But so they take down AIM, and they take down Monica, they take down Charlie, and basically there's some whack ass post-credit scene of Monica talking to these boards, like this board of people, or like this room full of people. And I mean, who gives a shit? Bottom line, the story's over. The story is fucking over. Thank God, the story is fucking over. I think the thing that pains me the most about all of this, and it's one thing that I genuinely have a lot of animosity towards, and I truly have like hate for, is when something that's good is absolutely wasted. I hate wasted potential. I truly do. It's one of those things that just absolutely boils my blood, is when something is truly fucking wasted and it has so much potential. And to me, that is probably one of the biggest reasons why I hate this story so much. Outside of them making the Avengers look incompetent and all of that other shit, I think there was something here that could have been a genuinely good story, but they wasted it in so many ways for Kamala's sake. It's sad, because I think the setup of the Terrigen Mist spreading throughout San Francisco, causing a lot of people to get superpowers that never had them, a bunch of chaos and shit's happening for the most part, people dying, the Avengers disassembling because of this. I do think that is a good premise, and I do think that's a good plot point. And the reason why I feel this way is because of one particular moment. There's a moment early in the story when, like I said, Kamala Khan's trying to get the band back together, where they go find Tony, okay, quick side note. Here's another thing, right? And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this, but I just happened to think about it. Here's another reason why AIM is so fucking bad is the villains, right? When Kamala Khan is going to get Bruce, or going to find Bruce, which he's on this helicarrier out in the middle of this fucking canyon in the desert, or wherever he is, right? Not desert, but you get my point. Like somewhere where it's fucking dry and dusty as fuck, right? There's literally AIM drones constantly flying around, and for some reason, none of them were able to find that helicarrier. But then when she gets on the helicarrier, that's when all of a sudden these AIM robots show up. But then even after that, they never send anything to go and try to take them out. I know they have, so you're telling me you have all these advanced robots, but none of them have a camera on it or any tracking or anything like that. And then you're looking at this shit and you're like, oh fuck, Bruce is on that. Like, you know, maybe we should take him out. No, they don't ever do that. They don't ever do any of that. The same thing with Tony's compound. It's not until Kamala Khan shows up. Technically, before they show up, you see a couple of robots. But at fucking Tony Stark's compound that he's at that's all run down and shit, all these robots just spontaneously appear once Kamala Khan shows up. But you telling me none of y'all niggas ever fucking seen that shit before? Even though you got fucking robots around the area, somehow they never I mean, I guess they might... At this point, they must have been programmed by Black Widow. That's what it is. That explains everything. The robots were programmed by Black Widow. It took her fucking years to find the compound until Kamala showed up. And in this case, these robots could not find Tony or Bruce until Kamala showed up. So I guess they was programmed by fucking Black Widow. But anyway, sorry about that tangent. I just had to get one last thing out the way. Where I'm getting at with all this is that there's a moment where Bruce and Tony are talking. And this scene is really fucking good. So I'm just going to play it in its entirety. Well, not completely in its entirety, but the more dramatic part of it. And even though I don't like Nolan North as Tony Stark, I think that was easily one of the worst casting choices to ever fucking make. I genuinely thought this scene was good because I don't know how I can describe it. For some reason, I'm at a loss of words, even though I should have more than enough words for why I like this scene. But you just see it. And hopefully you can see what I'm talking about on how just based off this one moment, we could have actually had a genuinely good story around this premise of the Avengers disassembling because of this A-Day incident.
Tony?
Hey, Bruce.
Long night?
Ooh, long 5 years.
At least it's quiet.
It was.
Hey, back off!
Hi, I'm sorry. Who are you?
Kamala?
Well, Kamala, your Emeraldite friend here is kind of on my shit list.
Okay. I deserve it.
Yeah, you're damn right you deserved it. Do the Avengers pose a danger to society? That was the question, Bruce. That was the question.
Did you even check the science? Did you check
It was a
the
heist,
science?
Bruce.
No.
We were outsmarted.
The Terrigen reactor was unstable, and you knew that, and you still paraded it before the entire world.
So what? We just give up?
We didn't give up, Tony. We failed. At least I can admit that.
No, we failed him. We failed him.
There's not too many good things in this game. Lord knows that. But I will give the game credit when credit is due. I am one of those people. It doesn't matter how much I hate something. Doesn't matter how much I shit on something. If there's something good in it, I will give it its props. And I will give it its props. That scene was really fucking good. And it really made me wish we would have got a better story overall. Now we get into the DLC. And this is where things start to get real spicy, my friends. Not really. I just said that just because I want to say spicy to meatball, but it really doesn't add anything. It goes down even further. You know, if the story was already on a decline, right? This honestly, at this point with the DLC, it just basically turns it into a fucking line going straight down the chart. That's what it does at this point. If the main story was going down like this on a decline, at the DLC, it just abrupts straight down. So here goes the DLC stories, right? The first one is taking aim, right? Or is it Future Imperfect? I don't fucking know. Either way, bottom line, this is what, but they go with one another. It's a part 1 and part 2, these two campaigns. But anyway, this is what both of these boil down to. The first one starts off with Kate Bishop, and she's trying to find Clint. And basically what it turns out is that he's working with Monica. And so what this eventually evolves into is that Clint is trying to find Nick Fury, because at some point Nick Fury told him that he needs to find him or something like that. And the key to finding Nick Fury may be in the future. So then what this ends up leading into is that Kate, Hawkeye, and the Avengers just in general, they go into the future and then they meet future Hawkeye. And future Hawkeye is looking for Nick Fury as well. So he's an older Hawkeye. And then what this leads into is that it turns out that Nick Fury is stuck in this time bubble of sorts with Monica because they were trying to stop the Sentinels from doing something. They never, I think they might have explained it, but to be real with you, I really don't remember, and nor do I really care. I'm just gonna be honest. But nonetheless, it's something dealing with some Sentinels, and they're all stuck in this time bubble, right? And that's where the story ends. I shit you not. You see Nick Fury and Monica in this time bubble with the Sentinels, and that is where it stops. You don't see anything after that because the next one is a completely different DLC dealing with completely different characters. My biggest problem with this one, though, is that, and it's only just this one thing, right? Well, one, Kate Bishop is fucking annoying. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. Kate Bishop is mad annoying throughout this entire fucking campaign. It's like they wanted to take that snarkiness and quippiness that Tony Stark in the MCU and Robert Downey Jr. made so popular, and they was just like, oh, we're not gonna crank that shit up to 11. We're gonna crank that shit up to like 22. We're gonna double that shit. No, fuck that. We're gonna crank it up to like 33 and triple that shit. She is super fucking annoying. She's fun to play as, but she's super fucking annoying to listen to. But the thing that made me laugh the most, and this is where I'm gonna bring up me not being the most well-versed in Marvel stuff, so once again, you can easily correct me at any moment. I do not mind that. But the thing that I find so funny about this campaign and that made me laugh the most on how fucking stupid it is that they introduced Maestro, right? Which is a future version of Hulk. And, you know, I'm pretty good when it comes to context and context clues, is what I meant to say, more along the lines of context clues. And to my knowledge, Maestro's whole character is that basically like, you know, what his name is. He's like super strategic. He's the mastermind. He's the, you know, guy with the puppet strings, like, you know, he's the one who's pulling the strings and all of that. Last time I checked, I thought that's what Maestro was about. Once again, I'm not well versed in Hulk lore. I'm not well versed in everything dealing with Marvel. If I'm wrong, please correct me and I will shout you out and I will, you know, make sure to give you your props and your credit. But if that is the case and he is this mastermind, then you tell me this: why in this game do they constantly refer to him as the Supreme Leader, right? While they're in the future timeline, they keep on referring to him as the Supreme Leader, the Supreme Leader, the Supreme Leader. But then you never see this nigga throughout the whole thing, right? Until the very end. It's not like one of those things like where they're like, oh, the Supreme Leader is not gonna like this, and then slowly throughout the campaign he pops up here and there. You maybe have like 1 or 2 boss fights with him, but they don't go as well. Maybe you get beat up. It's like a scripted boss fight, you know, something like that. No. You would be mistaken. We don't get anything like that, my friend. No, we don't see this nigga to the end of the campaign, and it's this long, drawn out boss fight. I mean, I think that shit took me like fucking 15 minutes on its own, maybe 12 minutes just to beat this nigga. This long drawn out boss fight. And when you beat him, mind you, this is Hulk we're talking about. Even though it's Maestro, it may not even be Bruce Banner. It may be like somebody else's Hulk. Once again, I do not know enough about Maestro. I'm not even gonna act like I do. But nonetheless, you're talking about a Hulk person, right? Hulk always means strength. No matter what you try to do, even if it's fucking She-Hulk, you know some strength is gonna be allotted to this person because of the Hulk genes. So you beat this nigga, and he just fucking keeps on crawling back to his little throne. And basically it ends like him, it basically ends with him just saying like, all right, you got me. This is where Nick Fury's at. That's it. That's it for this fucking Maestro character. All throughout this campaign, especially in the Future Imperfect one, they constantly talk about the Supreme Leader, the Supreme Leader, the Supreme Leader. And you fight this nigga one time, and then he's just like, oh, you got me. You fucking whooped my ass, y'all. Here go Nick Fury's location. Y'all go find him. Really? Really? But we're not even at the worst of it. And this is where I'm going to be done talking about this fucking campaign and anything dealing with these campaigns. And that is with the Wakanda DLC. And let me tell y'all something. I'm not the biggest fan of Black Panther, like at all, right? I like Black Panther, but I'm not a huge fan of him. I wasn't one of them head ass niggas that went to the fucking movie premiere and wore dashiki and all of that bullshit. I wasn't one of them niggas that was making it seem like that movie was going to progress black people 50 years in the future. I'm not, okay? I think Black Panther is a cool superhero. I loved him in Civil War, especially that scene when he's running out the Bucky. That scene is fucking, oh my God, that scene is absolutely amazing. It still holds up to this day. God, I love that scene so much. But anyway, I like Black Panther, but I'm just not one of the people who are heads over heels for him, right? I'm just not. I think the first movie was cool, and I thought the second movie was cool. But outside of that, I'm not a huge Black Panther fan. But even I felt offended by how the way they portrayed it, T'Challa in this game. And I'm just gonna show you this one clip because I swear to you, this one clip, this is once again letting the clips speak for themselves. This one clip summarizes Black Panther as a character, but not only Black Panther in this game as a character, but also just this game in general and how it is. Just watch this clip, and if you don't understand what's wrong with this clip, of course I'll explain it, but it should be quite fucking obvious, honestly.
It didn't have to be like this, my liege.
You have no more men.
There are always more men. And now I'm inside every system you rely upon. Give me your vibranium, and I won't turn your technological utopia against you.
Return what you have stolen, or I will take it with blood.
How about I talk to the little girl in your ear? Ask if she can see sense. Oh, I bet she's beautiful in person.
I have a message for the people. See Wakanda and die.
This isn't over.
Run! Get to higher ground, now! Shuri, we need to evacuate the borderlands. Bring them all into Berenzana.
So if you didn't get that, if you didn't get any of that, for some reason, he let Claw blow up his fucking defense system or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was called. Or what it was called. I'm recording this way after the fact of me playing this fucking game. So, like I said, I've done this multiple times at this point. But he let Claw blow up his fucking defense system. Claw even shows him that he's not fucking around and blows up one of them. And Black Panther proceeds to whoop his ass. The detonator comes out of his fucking hand. And instead of, I don't know, using those cat-like reflexes you got there, Black Panther, T'Challa, instead of using those to like flip over the nigga or run and grab it, or I don't know, use the little fucking kunai knife things that you're always throwing in this game, instead of using anything to stop Claw from getting that fucking detonator, you let him get up and grab the detonator and then proceed to blow up your whole system. You deserve to have Wakanda invaded. Yeah, my nose is stopped up. Sorry. You deserve to have Wakanda invaded. You don't deserve to be king. You don't. Because you're a fucking idiot. Just like everybody else in this game is a fucking idiot. But you are a huge fucking idiot. Because the nigga literally told you he was going to blow up your shit. And then you proceeded to let him blow up your shit. You fucking deserve it. Fuck this game.
Oh my God, Antonio Starch?
Yeah, what's up?
We have evidence that Kat may have been murdered. Do you live here?
I do now.
Is that dog food?
No, this is a poorhouse. It's got steak and veggies. It's got the best of both worlds.
It's a dog on that. It's a golden
That's just
retriever.
a nice picture, all right? Don't worry about the picture.
All right. Anyway,
Visually, this game is mad at best. Let's start off with the environments. They can look good from time to time, especially in the Wakanda DLC. The problem is that you run through these same areas over and over and over again, with the smallest of variations that makes it boring to look at after the 4th time. This definitely goes for our characters. They don't just look like knockoffs of their movie counterparts. They look generic, too generic, to the point where it hurts. That goes for the designs of their default costumes too. It's just so uninspiring and corporate. I will give this game credit though. The unlockable costumes are pretty dope. My 2 particular favorites are from Hawkeye and Black Panther. That's because these costumes actually turn them into the animals that are attached to their names. You could turn Hawkeye into a hawk and he'll actually have hawk eyes. You could turn Black Panther into Black Panther. It makes the cutscenes so much more tolerable. But because these are not the Avengers, more like the Revengers as Angry Joe put it, I just decided to put them in the goofiest costumes they had because that's what they deserve. The voices for the characters are awful, especially Nolan North as Tony. They all sound like ripoffs of their movie counterparts, even down to the cadence of how they talk. Compared to the Guardians game that did such a great job with their voices, that I actually prefer them over their movie counterparts. But at this point, are you even surprised? They failed at everything else, so why not? Am I right? When it comes to gameplay, this is where the game really started to suck all the energy out of me to review games, making me question whether or not I wanted to do this. I'm not joking, by the way. I'm being dead ass serious. You fight the same 10 enemy types, and that's me being generous. They're all robots or some AIM soldiers. That's it. They all do the same shit for the most part. Maybe a slight variation here and there, but it's always the same looking enemies. I mean, they don't even try to do something with the Inhumans in Monica's possession. Like make some of them on Monica's side. So you have to fight some Inhumans with different kinds of power. Nope, just robots with robots, and hey, even more robots. I mean, even in the future, where everything has gone to shit, you still have to fucking fight robots. Like, what the fuck? Seriously. They even come out of the ground like fucking zombies.
Rogue aimbots, carrying out old protocols like metal zombies. Ugh.
The only somewhat relief we get from this is in the Wakanda DLC. Even in that, we get more fucking robots, for fuck's sakes. But wait, there's more. This perfectly transfers over to our boss fights. All throughout this game, you fight these giant beetle-looking robots. It has all these turrets and a giant cannon. The way you take this thing down is so repetitive though. It makes you want to ram your head into the wall. It all boils down to the exhaust vents. Yep, you heard me correctly. You have to damage the exhaust vents to expose its core or whatever. That would be okay if you only had to do it once, but no, you have to do it 3 times. 3 fucking times in a row. And you fight these things so frequently? I genuinely don't understand how some of y'all could find this to be fun. I truly don't. Unless I missed it in some side mission or something, and honestly, I really don't give a shit. All the villains you could go up against in the Avengers Rose Gallery, they are nowhere to be found. I did take down Taskmaster in one side mission, but that's the only one I know of. The rest of these giant, stupid beetle robots. Oh wait, I take that back. You also get to take on a ship. How could I ever forget that? Silly me. You also take them down by blowing up the exhaust vents. How riveting and exciting these boss battles are. Now, let's talk about the mission variety, especially with this being a live service game. It's really impressive the amount of variety they provide from mission to mission. So your first mission type is to hold the point, which is self-explanatory. The second one is to destroy the core or cores, which is self-explanatory. After that, we have one that requires a little bit of coordination, if you're playing with some friends. That being, you input a code for a door with these consoles that have different numbers on them. Essentially, hitting the console's number in the order that's on the door. Yeah, you heard me correctly. That's fucking it. You are doing one of these three things for every single mission. When it comes to the door one, you have to do two of these at the same time. Input the code and then go defend the point while the door is unlocking. I'm not bullshitting you either. That's really what you do each mission. At least the ones I played. But I played a good chunk of this game, so this game was just made as a cash grab and to waste your time. This game wants to waste your time so much that even picking up objectives take forever. I'm not even joking. Fucking look at this shit.
A few moments later.
We're clear.
Why does it take ages to pick up something so small? I mean, this nigga Hulk is literally just looking around like, what am I supposed to do again? God, I fucking hate this game with the serious passion. This even goes for the optional objectives that are scattered throughout the maps. They all boil down to the exact same objectives every single time with no variation. Save a captured inhuman. Flip a bunch of switches to reveal a secret chest or an inhuman, or both. Take on mini bosses that will most likely disappear mid-fight. I will talk about this one later. Etc., rinse and repeat. When it comes to combat, it can be fun for the most part. There are a few characters I actually enjoy playing as. The first one is Jane Foster. She is super dope mainly because all of her special moves are AoE. So you can take out hordes of enemies in little to no time. Also, she looks cool while doing it, so that's a plus. The next character is Black Panther. He does a lot of flipping and shit when he's in combat, so that alone makes him fun to play as, in my opinion. My last one is Hulk. I mean, do I really even need to go into detail on why playing as the Hulk is fun? Well, I'm not. Because this game was supposed to be a live service game that people would consistently come back to, each character has their own skill trees. I'm not going to get into all of that because honestly, I don't care. I will once again give this game credit. The skill trees for the most part seem really fleshed out. It seems to reward the people that like to stick to certain characters that they want to master. They literally have a mastery skill tree to really max out said character. So that's a plus. All of this comes crashing down a little bit though because of the movement. The movement in this game is fucking weird. It feels floaty but also slippery, if that makes any sense. Nobody feels like the weight they should actually have. Even Hulk, who's a giant mound of mutated muscle, feels no different from Kamala Khan or Black Widow. They all run the same speed because these maps are so big and empty. The run speed attributes a lot to the floaty and slippery feel. It's one of those things that I can't really show you. You have to play it to understand. I would talk about the gear system in this game, but there's no point. If you've ever played one of these types of games with the gear system, or any game with the level-based gear system, then you know how this one works. It's just that simple. Now on to the bugs I encountered. And oh boy, did I run into quite a few. I'm just gonna list them off and let the clips of each one do a lot of the talking. Falling through the floor with Hulk at the beginning of the campaign. I think a lot of this has to do with the movement personally.
A few moments later.
Mini bosses disappear in mid-fight. The only way you can bring them back is to leave the area.
Okay. Take it.
Objectives not spawning, causing you to reload a checkpoint. Kate Bishop's explosive arrows not working at all. She's basically shooting air.
Don't blink.
Enemies not spawning are getting stuck in some sort of loop or getting stuck in an A pose. Clipping through the ground trying to climb a ledge, once again because the movement in this game is so awful.
Me neither.
Kamala Khan walking through a gate door.
Subtle Tony. After you.
This was not a bug, but this whole game is a bug, so I'm gonna put it here anyways. My game randomly dropped to 8 FPS along with some really bad stuttering, causing me to close the game and reopen it.
Everything should be in order.
Let's keep it that way.
How are you this afternoon?
Second to last one is this sound bug. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, nor do I. I'm warning you now, this is going to be loud, so cut down your volume. Once again, this is going to be loud, so cut down your volume. You've been warned. I saved the best one for last because I think this bug sums up this game perfectly. It's also a good way to wrap up this review. Enjoy.
Force attacking the city?
Big. These aren't Claw's loyalists. AIM is here.
As long as the shield is up, the city's fine, right?
Yes, but Wakanda is not just Bin and Zana. We must remove every last invader from within Wakanda.
Gladly.
We are almost there.
Get outside. Hurry.
Wait, aren't you gonna say the thing?
What?
You know, Avengers assemble.
Yeah, we don't really say that.
Just be cool, okay?
Got it.
Even though this game does have some good things like the combat or costumes, it's all buried under a big, no, monolithic pile of shit. This game is an insult to the Avengers. Not even somewhat getting close to what make these characters popular. Insulting people's intelligence with that bullshit ass story, including the DLCs. I still can't get over the scene with Black Panther. Seriously, what the fuck was that? The sheer amount of repetitiveness with no variations whatsoever, it's just downright disrespectful, not only to the source material, but to the fans. If you like this game for any reason, cool, you do you. Who am I to say you're in the wrong? I will question it, but I won't look down on you or anything. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't want more. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be respected for your time and money. Square Enix and Marvel didn't give a fuck about the end product. All they wanted to do was waste your time and mainly money for an extremely grindy and tedious game that doesn't deserve it. This game is as shallow as a puddle on the sidewalk after it rains, with its fate being to evaporate when the sun comes out.